I am Isatou Foon, a 25-year-old from a town in the Gambia called Janjanbureh, which is known for a rich history and culture since during the colonial period. I am currently studying tourism and hospitality management at the University of the Gambia. I have a background in computer science. I'm also a tour guide and a youth trainer on community-based tourism, which in turn makes me the president for the Janjanbureh Tour Guide Association. It started back when we did a training in 2018 on tour guiding, which I was actually just sitting around and then had one of my colleagues talking about it, upcoming training of tour guides. So I decided to apply, and fortunately I was accepted. So we were trained on tour guiding. So we later become professional tour guides. Then in 2019, we decided to form an association as tour guides because we have people among us that have been into tour guiding for more than a decade. So we decided to form an association and get it registered. So when we went for a congress, they decided to elect me as their president. So I don't think I have pulled, I don't know how I impressed them, but then they elected me as their president, which is a huge responsibility. So I also had to work very hard to make sure that I didn't disappoint them and, to meet their expectations and to honor their trust. I think tourism is a booming industry, which actually have a lot of potentials, mostly for women like myself. But there are alternatives that other women think they better engage in than in tourism because of the way the society views tourism, or maybe their lack of understanding about the potential that tourism have for women. So most of these ladies, especially those that are working in the hotel industry, when the society sees them maybe working in the hotel industry, they try to view them negatively because they believe that women are not supposed to be working there, going up and down. And some of the women have to work overnight, those on the night duties. So they believe that women should not be engaged in these kind of activities or work in these kind of establishments. The name that is being given to us is youth trainers in community-based tourism. And these are 5 members, which include myself and 4 other men who are also part of the Janjanbureh Tour Guide Association. So we were trained by the International Trade Center through the Youth Empowerment Project in the Gambia in 2018. So these villages around Janjanbureh are also being trained on food hygiene, food and safety, tour guiding, and also on product development. So we went to these villages and make surveys, and then later settled with 2 villages that we base our focus on because we believe after assessment, we believe that they have the potential to develop tourism products. So after training them, we consult them, talk to them, ask them about some of the things that they have in their community that they feel that they are comfortable with to share with visitors. So they come up with a lot of products. So we help them develop it, make it a potential product for tourists to be able to experience in their various villages. So basically, these are 2 villages, Tabanani and Jamali. Tabanani is a Mandinka community, whilst Jamani is a Fula community. So the Mandinka and Fula are 2 type of ethnic groups in the Gambia. They are common. So when you visit these villages, you tend to see the settlement, how they are living, the village life, their cultural dish, and all other artifacts that they have within their communities. We believe that most of these things that are even in the urban area, example like the vegetables, are mostly grown in the rural area. So we try to see how best we can bridge that gap between the host communities and then the visitors. So that's how community-based tourism came into existence around Janjanbureh. I think right now, most of the women around Janjanbureh or within Janjanbureh that we mostly work with are engaged in arts and crafts. That is tie and dye, batik, making beautiful souvenirs with t-shirts, tablecloths that tourists can easily buy and put it in their luggage and then take it back home. Yeah, I think what they need the most is the ground, the opportunity, and then the motivation. Looking at our society and our culture, sometimes when we want to rely on the culture much, then maybe even most of us wouldn't be currently working in tourism industry, because like for example, as a tour guide, you are expected to travel in different part of the country or even outside the country if required. So our culture might disagree with that, because they expect women to be staying at home and not moving around much or traveling outside their country or community. Our tourist stakeholders could come up with some in tourism, for example, putting in policies that could protect their rights too, and give them that self-esteem that they can do this, and it will be respected. The other thing will be with the society to sensitize them more about the benefits of tourism, not only on the negative side, but to tell them some of the positive impacts that tourism have in our lives. With the policy aspect, I have been talking to a lot of women that are working with the hotel industries, and some of them will tend to tell me that they work based on contract basis. So sometimes they don't even know their fate. When they are working, maybe for here, the tourism season will be around 6 to 7 months. So when you work for 6 to 7 months, then after the season, then with the new season that comes in, sometimes they try to lay off some employees. Sometimes they will call you back, but then it will be like you won't know your fate because you are not a permanent employee in the hotel. And then they don't have some of the benefits that employees are supposed to have at their workplaces. So I believe these are all those things that are need to be thought very carefully in order to make encourage women to continue working in the tourism industry in order to have a stable income. Yeah, we have scenarios like that, but I believe people's mindset are changing daily with regards to women in tourism. When you look at maybe 10 years ago, we don't have a lot of women that are working in tourism because there are people believe that it is not meant for women, and women are not supposed to be exposing themselves that much, and maybe in the hotels or in the restaurants, because you are to meet different people from different cultures. So they believe that you might even tend to forget your own culture and pick up a culture that doesn't belong to you. So that's why they try to keep women away from the tourism industry. But I believe people's mindset are changing daily with all the success stories that they have been hearing and seeing daily. So we are hopeful that in the next 5 years, we won't have challenges when it comes to women in tourism. With every places, they have their do's and they have their don'ts. So in as much as tourists have their own culture, the host communities too have their own culture. So all these both cultures are important, and they need to be respected with both they need to be respected by both parties. So for example, a tourist visit Janjanbureh, and there is this certain culture in Janjanbureh that, for example, you cannot have a beer and roam the town with it. For example, so when the tourists come, those are some of the things you need to enlighten them about, the do's and don'ts of this particular community, because they will sometimes know when they come and then they haven't seen anyone drinking alcohol. And then in a case of that kind, they will ask you, why have I not seen people drinking alcohol here? Then you will explain to them that most of the people here are maybe Muslims, and then they don't drink alcohol. or why are women not drinking alcohol? So you tend to explain to them some of the cultural differences between ours and yours, and they need to be respected. In as much as you respect ours, we are expected to respect your own culture too.